So, another episode of Let's Talk Bees, and without a doubt, the most brilliant episode of Let's Talk Bees because we have Alex Smith, just Alex, who has joined us to do the live stream today. So, welcome to the show, Alex. How's it going?
Hello, thank you. This is really nice to chat with you. I actually saw you yesterday, Lawrence. So
I know.
it's a bit odd seeing you again, but on a screen.
We had really good fun yesterday, didn't we? Well, I certainly had good fun.
hmm
For people who don't know, do you want to kind of say what we did yesterday?
Yeah, so I came up to Wales. So I currently live in Bristol, but I travelled about 3 hours to Richard's apiary site, where he keeps the nucs, um, and picked up one of your nuke boxes. Six frames, six frame
6 frames.
nuke. Really nice queen with a red dot. So it's from last year, right?
Yeah,
Um,
overwintered.
and yeah, we had a day of filming, talking about bees. I learnt loads because I was with two very experienced beekeepers. So it was great to ask questions. And yeah, it was a fascinating day and a beautiful place.
It's the best.
I
The weather
really
was
like
gorgeous.
Wales.
Yeah, it was nice. Tell us about your mushroom because I saw it on Instagram. I didn't know about this. You drove. Did you get it on the way here or the way back?
It was on the way back from you guys. I
Okay.
got in my car, started driving, and then by the side of the road, I saw this big orange mushroom. Now, if there's any
Yeah.
mushroom freaks out there, you will know what it is. It's a chicken of the woods mushroom. It has like the texture and maybe a bit of taste of chicken. That's what some people say anyway. But it's a mushroom which is edible basically, and so it was quite exciting. I jumped out my car. I stopped the car first. Got out of my car, cut it off the branch that was on, and it was my dinner this evening. So yeah,
Brilliant.
it was a
Like
hectic day
properly.
yesterday.
It was because it was probably, what was it, like 3.5, 4 hours for you to get up there, and then we spent quite a long time filming and chatting, and it was sunny though, wasn't it? Which was nice.
We couldn't have asked for better weather, and it was
No.
so cool as well. You have these really nice like zoom lenses, like macro
Yeah.
zoom lenses. So I got to play around with them. I checked the footage today actually, and it was
Is it
so
good?
crisp and so
Oh,
nice. Yeah,
wicked.
I
Oh, I'm
really
happy
liked
with that.
it.
It made me feel like great inside when I said, well, just get a close up of the queen on there. And you said, oh, my current lens is probably not good enough to get that zoom. And I thought, well, do you know what, Alex? I have something prepared in my bag for you here, which is the zoom lens. And it was pretty good. Right. I'm going to do an icebreaker here. So, in the corporate world, we love to do icebreakers. And I've learned to do something that I'm well proud of. And everybody who's watching can try it themselves at home. So this is dead simple. Yeah. So you have to put both your fingers together like that. Yeah. And then you have to do separate circles. So one's going clockwise and one's going anti-clockwise. So everyone have a go. See if you can do it. Right, so
Oh no, that's tricky.
no, it looked like you were doing it. So when I did it, like nobody I've seen yet can do it. Go on, you do it. Like Alex is basically a genius. So let us
No,
know in the.
I can't. I did it once.
No, you started doing it at first. You started doing it. So I basically
Yeah.
nailed it because I've been practicing it for about a week. So mine is working. So that's it. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
You got to go
Alex
like
is.
up and down and then turning. Gosh,
Well,
what
the
has this
trick is
got
to
to do with
meet
bees,
them.
Lawrence?
Absolutely nothing. I'm just really proud that I learned something new. But people at home can have a go. I thought it was quite tricky to learn, but
Why
it's
were you
obviously.
sat there on your own learning this? What are you
Well,
doing?
you know what? Why we say that? My wife has a proper go at me for like something that I learned when I was a young child, and obviously just like had loads of time on my hands, and I can't do it. There you go, the first time to do it, and I've messed it up. So there we go. It's just spinning a pillow on my finger like that. You can try that one at home as well if you want.
Wow, that is
Hours.
what? It looks like it's speeding up.
Yeah, well, it's pretty quick. I can see if I can get it there. So people come to this stream thinking that they were going to talk about beekeeping, and we've done so far.
Move it a little bit in front of the camera. Oh, this
There we go.
guy
Look,
is
we throw it off
skilled.
like that. That's it. So, and
That
I'm
was
kneed into the
insane.
mic there. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. More so than the finger spinning one, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm definitely going to try that later.
So I call it an icebreaker. I guess it was me just maybe like showing off what I could do. Have you got any like party tricks?
Yeah. No. Oh no, I must have something. Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, we go.
If I could cut. I can do this sort of weird shuffle thing.
Oh, do it again. It
It's
cut
not.
out for me. Go on, do it again.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice. I like it. You've definitely been hustling some people at poker. Right. Okay. So, like I said, people came to this stream thinking that
Welcome
we
to
were
the
going to do
circus.
beekeeping. We've done shuffling. We've done spinning a pillow. We've done that thing, and we've spoken about chicken of the wood mushrooms. So we should probably talk about a little bit about beekeeping. So,
Yeah.
Just Alex is like the #1 beekeeper on YouTube now, taken over. Tell me how you started beekeeping and how like you got your first set of bees.
I'm definitely not qualified to teach people about beekeep. Like, I've only been beekeeping for a few years. I've been making videos for a lot longer. So yeah, don't take any advice from me when it comes to beekeeping. But no, it was I think like 3 years ago now. I was walking. I used to live near Brighton, actually in the countryside near Brighton, and I was walking. I used to love going walking every day after work, um, and I saw a swarm of bees. And obviously, like, swarms of bees are fascinating. And if you've never seen one before, it's like, whoa, what is happening? It's scary, it's
Scary.
exciting, and it made me want to learn more about these animals. I went. It was like during COVID time, and I went online. I was like, where can I learn more about bees and beekeeping? And I found like my local bee club, and they were doing Zoom meetings at the time. So I joined this club, went onto this Zoom meeting, and they were like, "Whoa, you're our youngest member here by like 30 years or something."
Yeah.
But they basically, I went along to this Zoom meeting. They were like, "Why are you here? Do you keep bees?" I was like, "No, I just kind of want to learn a bit more." And I just
Nice.
kept like going to these bee meetings, and then I would keep learning bits and bobs about it, and more the idea of giving it a go and keeping bees myself sort of I thought it might become a reality at one day. But I certainly wasn't like really planning on keeping bees. I just wanted to learn a bit. And then like bee club people seem to be really nice and friendly and welcoming. And one of the members was like, "Hey, I have a beehive if you want." And I was like, "That's cool. I'm not sure if I'm ready to take on this challenge, but okay, I'll take your beehive." Um,
Yeah.
and then another member said, "I've got a swarm of bees that I got like recently. Do you want them?" And I think I was working the day that I got the message from these people, and I was like, "What should I do? Wow, my life is really taking a strange turn. I'm gonna become a beekeeper. What's going
Yeah.
on?" And yeah, I accepted both their offers, went and picked up the bees, went and picked up the hive, and it just happened so quick. And I was like, "Whoa!" And then once you've got the bees, you then I don't know, you sort of enter you spiral into wanting to learn more and more about them, and expanding the colonies. And yeah, since I've had bees, I think my life has genuinely been better. But yeah, that's kind
It's
of how I got into it.
it definitely is. Like beekeeping is great, and I think it improves kind of everyone's life a little bit. It's really interesting to hear that you like started kind of like in an educational setting. I think not many people will do that. I think I I certainly wouldn't do that because I'm kind of a case of, oh, I want to try something new, right? I'll buy it and then
Hmm.
kind of like justify the purchase later on
Yeah,
once
yeah.
I've already bought it and jumped into it. So it's good to hear that you've done that, but also good to hear that the Beekeeping Association was nice and friendly and welcoming and helpful. So that's really good. You stay in touch with them at all?
Yeah, they actually I did a talk at the club last year. I like went to the village hall and did a talk about like how I make my films and how
Cool.
I um yeah, I can't really give a talk about how to keep bees. So I talked about how I make films about bees. And yeah, I mean normally with things when I start them, I do go for like the approach of just getting stuck in. Like gardening, um sports, I will just go and do it. I'll buy the stuff that I need to do it and then just get stuck in. But beekeeping
Yeah,
is, I don't know, it felt a bit different. It's a bit more daunting. It's
maybe. Yeah.
like these animals can sting. There's loads of them. There's like thousands, and it just felt like I needed to learn a bit before I got started. But the most I've learned is just by doing it, and I learned so much over the past few years by just every week going through the bees and looking and watching your videos, of course.
But I think you underplay kind of just what you do on YouTube with the beekeeping front, though, and I think for you it's just like one strand in the wonderful world of Just Alex, which is kind of doing all the things that you enjoy and filming them. But you would have built up like a good kind of understanding of how beehives and stuff work. But what you bring to YouTube, kind of like in the beekeeping arena, is like true inspiration. And I think I've seen a few people already commenting on that already. Like people will watch your videos and they've never even thought about keeping bees. And like your approach to it is so infectious and so like charming that you just give this lovely like a view and kind of slant on beekeeping. So people will watch it and they'll be genuinely inspired to go and start beekeeping themselves. So I think you like I'd be amazed. I'd be really interested to understand how many people have started beekeeping as a result of watching your videos, because you get so many views.
I would love to know that as well, because I get messages every day, and on like the videos I've made, I get comments from people saying like, "Yeah, you inspired me to buy a nuke of bees or get a beehive or learn about bees." So I would be interested. But yeah, it's amazing. I'm glad that I can bring something to the beekeeping community, even if it isn't like top knowledge and like years of expertise. I'll leave that to you guys. But um, I I realized that I get, when I start something new and I find something interesting and I get a bit obsessed, I get so excited, and I kind of wanted, yeah, to capture that excitement on film. I get a little bit overexcited probably, but I think it's great to see that. And often when you see someone else get excited about something, it makes you more likely to find it exciting. Um, but yeah, it's cool being able to share these, like, this beekeeping journey on YouTube, and it's quite cool because I can look back to like right at the start, because I filmed it all the way from the beginning. I can go back to those first videos and see myself like literally picking up the beehive, really afraid, not knowing
Yeah.
like what's gonna happen, to now where I definitely come across a lot more confident, and I'm much more of a beekeeper now. So it's cool.
We spoke yesterday, didn't we, about like competition within YouTube and like what I thought of you as you came kind of out of nowhere, and I very much welcomed it, and we come to the conclusion that we're not in competition at all, and I think that you've just nailed that niche within the beekeeping sector, which is incredibly watchable, so people can just sit down and enjoy the content, but you're bringing beekeeping into the mainstream. And that's the big one, is that it's kind of been hidden in the niches, in the people who just want to learn about beekeeping. They've already found it and they just want to learn some more, but you're bringing it to this huge wider audience. I'd love to know the demographics of your channel as well, in terms of age, because mine is like basically anyone under 25, 0% interest, really, maybe like 1%, and then very even after that. But
Mm.
what's your demographic like? Do you ever look into demographics or things like that on
I
yours?
do. I couldn't tell you exactly. I don't know them off by heart, but definitely most of the audience is 25 to 35. But then after
Okay.
that, it's the young. I can't remember what the youngest
Yeah,
section
13
is.
to 19, I
That
think
young,
is the, yeah,
yeah, that section is second, I think, and then
right.
next it's 35 to 50 or something. I can't remember, but
So
yeah, mostly 25 to 35.
but that's what's so interesting. So for me, that 13 to 19 is literally zero. They're not interested. Like, who's this old fart kind of talking about beekeeping education? But you've nailed it and you've made it interesting for them and brought it into the mainstream. And I just think that the difference that that will have kind of over the next like 5 to 10 years, with the amount of people coming into beekeeping, that you really can't underplay how much of an impact that's going to have or is having. So well done. It's
Yeah,
good.
I if it inspires one person to get started and give it a go, then it feels pretty good actually. Yeah.
But it's definitely done one person. Look, Dale Hancock's there. It says, it's true. Alex's videos made me want to keep bees and made me take the plunge, and it has changed my life for the better in so many ways. So thank you. There we
God,
go.
that makes me so happy. Wow.
Um, so next question is then, so you started off with a swarm and then you got a few hives. Like where are you going with your beekeeping journey? Is there a destination, or is it just see what happens?
Um, at the start, it was all just about learning how to take care of one beehive. Like I didn't have a clue. I'd never even thought about bees like before. Um, yeah, before I started like 3 years ago, I'd thought about them, but certainly not in any more detail than there's a bee, they sting. Um, so yeah, at first it was just about learning just a little bit more than I already did. Um, I'm very much I do kind of like the business. This the thing. The great thing about beekeeping is that it's so multi. I don't know how you say it. There's loads of different aspects to it. It's not just it's a bit of biology. It's a bit of food production because you're creating a food product. It's a little bit of business. It's a little bit of marketing because you've got to market your product. It's so many different things, and that's sort of what made me quite excited about it. Is that because I struggle to stick with one thing for too long, but beekeeping includes all these things. Um, uh, so the idea of like building up, because beekeeping is quite a scalable thing. You can scale it up, and then business, like the idea of earning some money from it gets involved, and then that gets exciting. And you're like, how can I make a profit off this? Um, so yeah, always in the back of my head is like I want to build this. I want to double the hives each year and build up and turn it into a little business. Because the other thing which I found was that the best feeling ever was last autumn, and I had a decent harvest of honey, way more than I could eat myself. So I had enough to sell. And I sold it to people. Like I did an Instagram post and I sold it to like people who replied. And people were coming to my house collecting it. And it was just such a good feeling meeting people who had watched the videos, who had seen how this product was made, and then sharing it with them. And that was probably when I realized, like, yes, it was all worth it. Because with beekeeping, there's a lot of time where you're like, whoa, everything's going wrong. The bees keep doing things that I don't want them to do. They're trying to swarm. My queen's died. Colonies die over the winter, and you're like, is this really worth it? You're looking at the outgoings that you're spending, but then the harvest comes in. You earn a bit of the money back. You get to sell the honey to people, and people are loving the product. And yeah, it's a mix of all those things why I do it. But I think the growth of beekeeping is sort of the main thing I like about it, is expanding the apiary, um, making the hives like growing throughout the spring and summer. It's amazing to watch like the colonies go from a few frames out of winter, and then they begin to fill a whole hive up, and then they go into the supers and draw out those, and you see the honey coming in. Yeah, it's a mix of lots of things, but yeah, I love it.
It's I was going to say, what's your favorite part of beekeeping, but I guess you've kind of answered that with the
Yeah,
honey harvest. Is that your favorite bit, like the harvesting and
I
giving it to
think so.
people?
It's the same with like gardening. The gardening is hard work. It's like a job. You have to really work at it. You've got to wake up in the morning, water your plants, look after them, feed them, and it's sort of and often through that, I think maybe I'm a bit lazy, but I always find the work bit a bit like, oh god, is it really this? I don't really want to have to put in all this effort. But then,
Yeah.
yeah, the harvest makes it all feel worthwhile. So yeah, harvesting and selling the product and giving it away to friends and family is definitely like the best, the main reason I do it. But there's so many different reasons.
We're so similar in terms of the laziness. I'm like that, and I absolutely love gardening as well. But like for me, some people would like going into the garden and just weeding, and they'll come along and just help weed, and they're not like, oh yeah, not really interested in the tomatoes at the end. And I'm just like, it's all about the tomatoes at the end. Like I don't want to do anything, and I just want to eat the tomatoes at the end. What's
Yeah.
your? We'll go slightly off piece because I have a favorite like fruit. What's your favorite fruit or vegetable to grow?
Uh, the tomatoes I grew last year were so tasty. There were a variety called Sun Gold. They're
Oh
like
yeah,
these,
little
they
golden
ripen to
cherry
an
ones.
orange color. Yeah,
Yeah.
little cherry tomatoes. And I have not eaten a sweeter tomato in my life. And like every day throughout the summer, I was having tomato, basil, and mozzarella salad,
Yeah,
on some
caprese
like fresh
salad.
baguette. It was so good. But no,
That sounds amazing.
second to that is sweet corn. I grew some sweet corn last year,
Oh yeah.
and gosh, that barbecued was just so good.
Jasper in the background. Sweet corn's one of those
Yeah.
ones. It's when it's growing, it's still got all the sugars in it, and apparently, as soon as you take it off, all of the sugars convert to like some other carbohydrate or starch. That's it. They convert to starch, and there's
Wow.
nothing worse. My wife tries to give me sweet corn like at this time of the year, and it just tastes like wallpaper paste. I really don't like it, but sweet corn from your garden's amazing. No, the one I'm not sure if you've ever grown it or even seen it, but a Cape gooseberry. You ever had a Cape gooseberry?
Heard of
Right,
a
yeah.
gooseberry, not a Cape gooseberry.
Yeah, so you have to grow a Cape gooseberry. So it grows on like a vine, and it's like it's interesting you say, because it's very similar to the little sun gold tomatoes, but then it has these little kind of
Yeah, they're
yeah,
amazing. I've had them. I had them. It was in a dessert when I was in Austria, I
yeah,
think.
and they
Wow.
taste a bit like they don't really taste like anything. Closest thing they taste to, I think, is like a passion fruit, but grow them because they're just you
Do
can't
they grow
really
well
hide
in like your climate?
if you've got a greenhouse to grow the tomatoes, were they in a greenhouse?
No, they were actually outside.
Okay, so I'm trying one outside this year, but I normally grow mine in a greenhouse, and they go really well.
So they prefer
All right.
like warmer weather.
Oh, I was trying to think of the word of this. Simon said also called facilis. That's what it's also
Facilis.
called. But they're really nice. So we'll take it back to beekeeping then. So like I have this challenge with like how do I keep beekeeping fresh on YouTube? And I've kind of resigned myself to the fact now that it's an education channel. Not going to do dramatic kind of things on there. But the world is your oyster in terms of beekeeping. So what like crazy things could you do with bees? Because that's what I want to see. I want to see like beekeeping at the top of Mount Everest, or I want to see like beekeeping on the top of the Shard in London. Like you could take beekeeping and put it into all these different places. Have you got any plans for anything outlandish like that?
I actually haven't. I feel, yeah. Sorry, I haven't had any of those. Haven't had any mad ideas. I would love to watch those people harvest honey in Nepal, like from like those cliff faces. That looks
But that's the thing,
incredible. I
you
don't
can
know
go
if I
and
want
do
to.
any of those.
Yeah, I think it would make a great. I mean, but people have made those like documentaries. I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could bring something new to to
You
that sort of
definitely
thing.
could. The Just Alex calming, beautiful videography. You want to see it, make it happen.
Maybe I will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I haven't really. I'm currently like my main project is just trying to keep track of and keep on the top of my apiary. But I have done some traveling to like meet up with beekeepers in other places, because like when I'm on my travels, I always try to like meet up with people, and I often end up meeting up with beekeepers because it's like I don't know, it's something I can relate with, and I can have conversation with them because it's the same sort of thing over here. But I met up with a guy in Switzerland who had this incredible bee house, like this multicolored temple. It was like a temple for bees.
Nice.
But that was pretty cool. But no beekeeping at the top of Mount Everest. Do you reckon there's no flowers up there, are there?
No, Mount
Probably
Everest is probably not a good one, but I just
on the
you
top of
know
the
when you
Shard
came,
though.
yeah, like
Would the
when we did
bees
our
go
brainstorming.
down, like down to the flower, then they would come back up? Or maybe they just get so tired, like flying all that way up to the.
Well, no, I reckon, yeah, maybe that's a bit high. But then you could even like bring it back down to ground level. You know, the one where the like in someone's house, so basically like built into the wall here, you have
Oh
like a
yeah,
hive, and then you have like a pipe going out to the top or something. I think
those ones are
just Alex,
cool.
you need to do something like
I
that.
could try and build one into my bedroom.
Yeah, I
Might
want
get
to see
kicked
it.
out by the landlord.
They have to get in first, get in to kick you out.
That's true.
Okay, cool. So you've got the nuke. So you came down and got the nuke. What did you think of the nuke?
The calmest bees I've ever seen. It was amazing. It's funny because this morning I went over to my apiary to like bring the bees that I got from you yesterday to the site. And whilst I was there, I was opening up some of the other colonies, and I'm opening them up, and I'm like, they're coming straight off the frames. They're not stinging, but they're going around my head, and they're interested. I transferred one of your nukes over, like I took the frames out and put them in like a full sized hive. And it was just like none of them even, they're walking around slowly. None of them are coming off the frame. It was just like really easy to look through them. And yeah, I think it is very like, it makes beekeeping a more enjoyable experience having bees which
Oh
aren't
yeah.
stinging you, because as soon as they're trying to sting you and getting mad, it's like it puts you more on edge, and then you're rushing through it to try and get it done, and you can't relax as much. So yeah, no, those bees were really. I'm really happy to have those genetics in my apiary now.
I'm glad you're happy with them. It's interesting. I'll just chuck a couple of comments up here. So you got BBB says got 2 buckfast colonies on Tuesday and was blown away, no joke. And then I think somebody else up here was, where was that? Yeah. So it said Lawrence, my Langstroth nuke arrived today. This is my 16th colony. All have your queens. Mia Fluke, age 12. Hi Mia. But my favorite part, when people say to me, what's your favorite part of beekeeping? I say, it is definitely, I know I said to you yesterday it was YouTube, but it's making up the nukes and sending out the nukes to customers. That bit's pretty stressful. But then it's watching like their Instagram and their Facebook and them saying, you know, the postman's come and they bought the bees, and then watching the colonies expand and thinking, you know, these are our bees. And what I'm even more excited about is now that you've got some of the queens and you've got like the nuke, I just can't wait to see the video, but I can't wait to like follow the journey of them as well and see, you know, how long is it going to take before that queen swarms, or if you make loads of splits, or if you make more honey than you were expecting. So I'm really excited just to see how they go and how you do with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna document it all. So it will be there for people to see. I'm still not totally sure what I'm gonna do. I'm half tempted to split them, because I want lots of colonies to go through the winter, like to build up this year and then go through the winter. Because last
Yeah.
year I had a few losses, and it made me think like, yeah, last year I just went for a honey harvest, and then I lost some colonies. But this year I'm like, I should really split so I have more colonies. So if I lose some, then it's not as much of an effect on the next year. But then I also want to see how much honey I could get from that nuke that I got from you guys yesterday. So I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to think about it over the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, you're in 2 minds, and me and Richard were in 2 minds as well, weren't we? I recommended building it up a bit and then splitting, taking some splits, and Richard said no, let's just keep it. But I recommend to everyone, and if people have bought nukes from me this year, like my recommendation is before they fill the brood box, just take a split, take a 2-frame split out, 2 frames of brood, 1 frame of stores with the queen, and if you can, go and take it to a new apiary. But if not, do it within the same apiary, and then just let both of those colonies build up as a minimum, to know, split from 1 to 2, because it just gives you that insurance of having more colonies. But even more than that, it just gets you through the swarmy period, so you're not going to lose your good queen. You know, they always swarm in awkward places, the best queens. They'll go into the chimneys and you just never see them again. You just think, oh damn, wanted to keep
Yeah, I
them
don't
for
want to lose. I don't want to lose that queen. I had a question for you actually.
Go ahead.
The queens that come in your nukes, are they from like a breeder queen that you get? Like, are they? So they come from another queen. They're the offspring of like a really good breeder queen.
Yeah.
Then if I were to let that queen lay eggs, and then the colony, and then I make a split, and then
Yeah.
the colony which is queenless raises a queen from that, then that will be like a second generation from the
F2.
breeder
Yeah.
queen. So it'll be like an F2. Um, have you noticed much change in like because I guess it is further away from the parents. So the genetics are from a wider place, so they could end up quite different. But have you had mixed results with like some can be really calm, some are angry, or yeah, what's sort of what happens there?
So as you go down, so if you imagine the F0 or the pure is like 100% genetics, you know, the maternal and the paternal, and then when you go down to F1, you're only really guaranteeing the 50% of that maternal side, and the drones in the air are doing the other 50%. And then when you go down to F2, you're down to like you only really know 25% of the mix, and then you've got 75% of the drones. So it quite quickly dilutes it, and you're much more reliant on the drones that are in the air. And then that's where it becomes important to be able to control them as best as possible. And you saw yesterday, Richards is in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? It's absolute middle of nowhere in a valley, and it's difficult for the drones to kind of get out that much, and that's why we think in that apiary there we get very, very good kind of control of the matings as best as we possibly can, and that's how you get like the really nice calm bees. But as you go further down the generations, you're just getting more variety. So you can have very calm ones, you can have very, very aggressive ones, but it's the drones that are causing that, the drones that are in the air. There is a myth. It's not so much a myth because it's not true, but a lot of people who don't like buckfast bees say F2 buckfasts are really, really aggressive, and you can get really, really aggressive F2 buckfasts, but it's not really the buckfasts that are making them aggressive. It's the drones that are in the air.
The drones that they've had no control over, that you have no control over.
And if you look to places like in America where people have got like masses of land with no bees, and they keep 30 or 40 or like hundreds of buckfast bees, and they're almost just kind of like F2, F3, F4, and they're just the same all the way down because there's no really like interference from any other drones. But you can it'd be an interesting take to see what happens if you do take some kind of daughters from that one. And you could do just walk away splits with it. So you could just once you get that colony to build up, take the queen away in a split, and then just let the remainder of that colony requeen themselves, and then you can assess what the temperament is like. And
I'd like to give that a go. So just to clarify, F0 would be an artificially inseminated queen.
Yeah.
Is there any other way that you can guarantee the drone genetics? Because I've seen sometimes people take them to islands.
You can do island mated as well.
But surely
island mated it is effectively F0. People don't like the terminology F0, so they say it should be called pure. I call them F0. But yeah, so they do. So some of these islands, they are absolutely piddly tiny little things in the middle of the sea. Like I always thought them as being like pretty big, like Isle of Wight or something like that, but they are not. They are like the size of a house. Some of them, they're tiny in the middle of nowhere. So you're kind of thinking, well, you basically are controlling the drone population, because you know that queen cannot fly any further because there's just sea. So a lot of the island mated ones are good, and even in Germany they have stuff like they do a guy called Dr. P. Stoffen, and in Germany it's not on an island, but it's kind of like on this part of the land that goes out to sea, and then because of the way that the wind goes over, that they get these really good controlled matings. And I've got a couple of his queens that I use as breeder queens, and they are very good queens. Some people don't like artificial insemination.
Yeah, I guess it's probably a controversial thing. But no, I think that would make a really interesting video, like the whole island mating thing, the whole breeding of bees is so fascinating. Like how humans can have an impact on how an animal is. I think
we should have like an away day. We should just have an away day to Germany and just go and do some island hopping.
Absolutely, I'm game for that.
Let's just do it.
Let's do that. Let's take an island beekeeping trip.
Yeah, I'm well up for that. Okay, so you're gonna take some splits from your bees. You're gonna make some more honey. Are there any more plans for your beekeeping, or are you just seeing how it comes?
I really want to. This is something that I wanted to do. Is have a little. Someone actually put in the comments there. Alex needs a market stall for his honey. I really want to do like a farmer's market. I'd love to have like just Alex at the market. And I can sell like my bee products. And then I've got some friends who also are skilled in some other things, so they could join me and have some of their products. But yeah, like I said before, I love the bit where you meet the customers, meet people. I think I just love meeting people, and when you sell honey at a market store, I could just imagine so many people like asking questions and wanting to learn about the product. And yeah, so that's sort of one of my goals is to harvest enough honey to make it worth me doing a few market stalls. Because last year I had like 250 jars of like 8-ounce jars, but they went like in a couple of days, and
goes quick.
I need to I need to have a bit more honey, and then I'll do a market stall. I think that's my next goal. I think it's realistic. So yeah, that's the
I,
plan.
I think that'd be really good. Like I love doing market stalls and talking to people, and there's nothing better than because everyone gets to you got to have tasters at market stalls and getting them just to taste the different honeys, and you get a lot of people. Oh, I don't like honey, don't like honey. Oh, go on, I'll have a taste, and they're like, that's like no honey I've ever tasted before. And or you get the old guy who's like 85, and he tastes it, and he's standing there looking all pensive, and he says, that takes me back to when I was a little boy, and you just think, oh, that's really like I really like the comments like that.
Yeah,
I just
I'd have a little plate of I'd have a little plate of tasters, and it would be cheese and honey. I'd have like
cheese.
cheese dunked in honey, because that is in my opinion, that is the most incredible thing, a piece of cheese dunked in honey. And I think if you put that at the front of the market stall as a taster, then you're selling a lot of products.
This is going to seem like a shameless product plug, but it's not. Like, but I have the cheese with my hot fire honey is like my favorite thing. So we'll just have like a platter of salami cheeses, and I can't have it now without like the hot fire honey, the chili honey. It is a little bit addictive.
Yeah, you gave me some of that stuff when I met you last year, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
so
did you
good
like it?
on pizza. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good on
so
pizza as
good.
well. Yeah. It is
Mhm.
nice. My brain was just ticking there in terms of like other beekeeping videos that you could do. I think
Mhm.
going to like crops would be good videos for you. So going to
That
Ling
is
Heather, that would be cool,
mhm.
or the
I would really
borage, or
love to
all
do
the
one of
grape.
those. Like,
Yeah,
built putting all the colonies in the back of a trailer and driving somewhere, like, onto the heather moors. I think that would be a really interesting thing to document, for sure. Yeah.
and then the extraction of the honey as well, because Ling Heather is a pain to extract, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
explain
cool.
that. What's the
So
deal?
it's thick as a tropic, which means that when you kind of like move it, it doesn't move. So it's basically like jelly. But then when you put kind of like motion into it, it liquefies again. So if you just try to uncap the frames and spin it out, it just says no, 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 no. So you need to agitate it first, either through little needles, or the way that I found is much easier to do it now is you use plastic foundation and then scrape the plastic foundation back and then press it out. So you can use like an apple press, like a manual mechanical one, or what I've got is a hydro press, which is like an inflatable bladder,
Oh,
and that's
yeah, I've
really,
seen
really good.
them. Yeah.
But it's great. It makes for good YouTube content as well. It looks quite nice, and the honey is like some people don't like the honey. I'm not. It's not my favorite honey. I do like it, but it's like very strong. Like it's like a blue cheese of the cheese world.
Mhm.
You
It's
got to
really
love it.
dark in color as well, isn't it?
Really dark, yeah, dark and full of like bubbles. You get a lot of bubbles in it as well, but it is nice, and it would be a cool video because where there's Ling Heather, it's pretty awesome scenery and stuff as well.
It is, yeah. No, definitely. All those things, I think, like, as I do more and more beekeeping and learn more and more over the years, I I definitely want to, yeah, tick off all these things and try them for sure.
So in terms of like Just Alex, the YouTube channel, you're doing your
Mhm.
gardening, you're liking that, you're doing your beekeeping, you can see you're getting like these different segments, and then there's always going to be the crazy new adventures that you've got going. Like what's I know you don't like to plan too far ahead, but you want to give like a flavor of anything you've got in the works at the moment?
Um, I am, what have I got? Um, I've got one abroad trip, so I'm going away to Canada,
Oh, no.
to do like a mushroom foraging adventure. I'm actually meeting up with these um, commercial morel mushroom pickers. So
Cool.
morel mushrooms are like one of the most sought after
Mhm.
um, edible mushrooms. They're quite incredible, actually. They look like little like brains almost.
Like
Actually, they look a
aliens,
little
yeah.
bit like the texture of the mushroom is a little bit like honeycomb. It's got these
Yeah,
little holes in, which is a bit like a comb of honey. But,
and you've got to clean them with a little brush, haven't you? Because you can get like sand and stuff in them.
yeah, they get very, dirty. But, yeah, I'm gonna meet up with those people and film, like a little mini documentary about these morel
Wow.
mushrooms and how they go about collecting them and then processing them ready for, like, selling. Um, but there's 2 things that I really want to do, which, I can't do currently because I haven't got the space and probably the time, but I really want to have pet pigs. and I really want to have pet chickens. So those
Oh,
two things are things which I will do one day in my life, but right now I don't have the space for it. I wonder if I can maybe fence off my apiary area, which I keep my bees on like a farmer's land, but I could put a little fence up and then keep some chickens in there as well. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I think you
pigs
could.
and chickens.
That would be really. And what would you do with the? Like, I'm guessing it's not just like pet pigs. You'd go. I would
No,
say the
I
full
don't
the
know why I
full
said
hog.
pet pigs. I'm
No,
probably not gonna name them. They're gonna
no.
be bacon, unfortunately. But I think it would. I like the idea. Again, it's like I'm really drawn to things where you have a harvest, where
Yeah,
you put in work and you see like a quality product come out the other end. And I mean, I love eating bacon. I love eating pork. I love eggs. So pigs and chickens just seems like a very natural step to take. So
oh
yeah,
yeah.
hopefully at some point I'll have a little around my land where my bees are. I'll have bees, and then I'll have chickens walking about and some pigs fenced off. Yeah, that's those things are in the pipeline.
You're definitely going to retire to like a farm or a small holding, and I say retire like in 10 years or something like that. And it's just you're just going to live the dream of do YouTube videos. I think those videos will do really, really well. It's weird. I did a salami making video. It was one of like the first videos within the first 6 months, and it still gets quite a lot of views, like surprisingly. And it's
Wow.
terrible, rubbish video. It's just me in the kitchen with a KitchenAid, like really boring, how to make salami, and then it didn't really even finish because I said, "Oh, and now you just have to leave it for 10 weeks to cure." That was it. That was the end of the video. But I enjoy making salami as well. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
So how does it work in terms of like you choosing the videos? Do you sit there and do you plan to think, right, this year I'm going to do these videos, or do you get people like coming to you and saying, come and film, we'll do this, or like how does it work?
It's a mix of lots of things. Like I some things that I can't control. Like for example, the beekeeping series. I I didn't really plan that. I just sort of got into beekeeping, and I just sort of documented the journey. I didn't sit down and go, right, the next 5 years I'm going to become a beekeeper, and
Yeah,
then the next year I'm going to expand the apiary, and then I'm gonna meet up with Lawrence and do some filming with him. Like it all just quite organically happened. I got into beekeeping and documented it, and then things happen as well. Like for example, we got talking, and then we discussed the ideas of making videos together, and that came about. Um, so yeah, I don't really sit. I do sit down and sometimes for hours and days and try and plan things, but then the way things actually happen is nothing like the plan, and I don't know why, but I like everything I plan never happens, and everything that happens is I can't really see coming. Um, but to a point, I guess, like I know that for the next summer, I'm gonna have to tend to the bees, so I can make some kind of rough plans of like, well, I'll probably make maybe 4 videos of that. I don't know what's gonna happen in the videos because that is a lot down to the bees and what happens. And I think that's something interesting that is that I'm really not good at writing stories. Like for YouTube videos, lots of people, like some of the top YouTubers, they write their stories, they script it, um they storyboard it properly. But I'm not very good at that. So I found the way I do it is I let the projects script the video for me. And beekeeping and gardening and anything which is nature based gives you that story on a plate. It's like I don't have to do any storyboarding because the bees are trying to swarm and I've got to react to that. I think I'm more reactionary than
yeah.
like planning and script writing based. Like my videos are yeah, I just react to what happens. And yeah, by making beekeeping videos, there's always so much stuff popping up and you can't really plan for that stuff.
And that's what makes beekeeping videos so good. I had the perfect example. It's a video on the channel membership section that will be out in the next couple of weeks. But I went to go and do a video. I had basically an artificially inseminated queen that I got given last year. It was a good queen, and I intended to graft from it this year, and it's just failing. It was failing miserably. Spotty drone brood everywhere. I wasn't building up. So I went to go and do a video saying, this is what happens when a queen fails, and got there and pulled the frame out, and I was like, that's not the queen. Like, the queen had a big pink disc on her back. I said, that's a different queen. And then I found some supersedure cells, and then I thought, they've superseded the queen. And then I found the original queen as well. So, spoiler to everyone who's going to watch that video, I've got to watch it to the end now. But like, I didn't go to do that video at all. But I basically found 2 queens in one hive in the middle of a supersedure. And like you say, you can't plan a video like that, can you? And you can't plan a video if you turn up to the
No,
apiary and
but it's almost like it's a better story than you could come up with. Like, if you sat down and tried to write it. That's what I love about making videos which are nature based. The uncertainty of
you never
it.
know what's coming.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of questions, beekeeping related questions. If you've got beekeeping specific related questions for Alex, stick them in. I will chuck a couple up here. So Bert says, how many hives do you have now, Alex, and what types are they, and do you have a favorite?
So I have such a bad memory. I was at the hive this morning, and you're asking me how many hives I have, and I have to go on my phone and look at a photo because I can't remember.
Wow.
There's a lot more than there was. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nice.
We've got 7 now. We had 6 yesterday, and now I have 7. So
cool.
It's expanding rapidly. It's exciting.
And then So what type of hives are they? Do you like? Are they wooden? Are they poly? Like, do you have a preference?
I have a bit of a mix. I have a couple of old wooden ones, which I got like secondhand hives from the old beekeeping association that I was a member of. I've got a couple of newer wooden ones, like really nice cedar ones,
Nice.
which they are really beautiful wood. Like, I think they're like the most expensive type of hive, but definitely the best looking, and they smell amazing as well. I don't know if you've noticed.
They like British National, just like wood, or they WBC with the slants?
They are national, British national.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, all my hives are national. When I started beekeeping, it was one of the things that was kind of quite confusing as a beginner. It was like, well, you got all these hives. What do I choose? What do I buy? But the decision was kind of made easy for me because, like, the first hive I was given was a national, and then when I learned that you're often like switching like boxes over, and it's kind of easier if everything is interchangeable. So I was just like, right, I'm just gonna stick with national for now. It makes sense. Everything is the same. Very easy to get hold of new national equipment. So yeah, all of my stuff is on national. I have a few poly, like Payne's poly nucs. The transport box that you gave me yesterday was a Payne's poly one, wasn't it? And then I have a couple of, and I also have one that I made myself, a little wooden.
Nice. Yeah, you showed me this one yesterday. I like that one.
Yeah.
Hey, so there we go. There's another idea. It could be like making a beehive out of like a really exotic wood. That could be pretty.
You could make
like
such a nice
tree.
Like,
yeah, the whole process.
Yeah, but like, I'd need to get some help from a proper carpenter, I think, because like my beehive that I built, the roof doesn't fit on properly. It's terrible.
It sounds like me again. I'm shocking at DIY. I love DIY. I love the idea of it, but I'm not set up for DIY.
I measure everything so much, and then I always cut it inaccurate. I don't know what's going on, but like,
but you know what it is? But measuring stuff's actually quite difficult when you're trying to get stuff, not just like measuring a piece of wood, but trying to get stuff square. And then when you get something kind of as square as you think it is, or you do a miter cut and you think it's 45 degrees, but it's 44, and then you go on to the next one, and it just, before you know it, you're miles out. I find it very
You make one like off, like one not straight cut, and then you measure everything off that straight edge, and then everything else is out. Yeah, it's pretty tricky. And I was trying to do it all on like this hand circular saw, by like clamping a straight edge onto the wood and then cutting, and it was just like, it was moving about. It's really tricky. I think you need like for the like big sheets of ply, you need a table saw. And then for small bits, you need like a chop saw, one of those things that you just pull down. Those are like such cool bits of kit. One day I'm gonna have a workshop, which is like, all right, keep on.
No, I was just gonna say, I need to chop my finger off. You can't really see it's doing it like that. There we go.
No,
you see the scar on it there. It was really bad on a chop saw. And I'll tell you what I was doing with it. Yeah, it was on a chop saw. I was trying to cut little strips for some frames, and you just like, I shouldn't have been getting that close to it. And it's just, I did the plunge, cut down, and then let it go back up. And as it went, it just hadn't stopped spinning, and and that's it was basically hanging off.
Nasty.
They
Gosh.
salvaged it, which was pretty good.
Oh, I'm glad you still got that finger.
I have, yeah. So, uh, like we said this yesterday. Like, I'm really envious of your life as a YouTuber. So tell me about like an average week in the life of Alex, because I don't think it's as glamorous as it looks, is it? But go on, what's your average
I
week?
don't think anything is as glamorous as it looks. um, no, I live in a house with 4 other people. They're all school friends. Um, and because they work like Monday to Friday jobs, I try and do the same because then we can all have like the weekend off together, and then I can hang out with my friends. So I try to work like a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 sort of thing. I find that keeps me sane. I When I started making YouTube videos, I was like, wow, this means I can work whenever I like. I can like work late one day and then I can wake up at midday the next day. But I actually found that like there's something good about a schedule and um yeah, not just staying in bed all day or like until midday. So I try to do things in like an organized way. Um so but like the actual work wise, it's kind of it is pretty amazing sometimes. Like I get to work a bit outside doing the filming and the beekeeping and gardening, and then I do the editing inside. So there's a nice balance between outdoor work and indoor work. And I'd say the best thing, but also at the same time, it's the trickiest thing, is being like your own boss and being like managing a business. Because in some ways, it's like, well, I can come up with the ideas and the plans and the future model for this business. Um, but also, it means you need to bring the motivation and you need to bring the energy. There's no one else like tapping you saying, get up now, it's time for work. And I find that is actually probably the trickiest thing. It is on those days where you don't feel like doing anything, you're having a down patch, you have to bring yourself up and without anyone telling you to. And I'm not always great at that. Like I over the winter, I went through many weeks of being very unproductive and very unmotivated. And it wasn't that great. Like I was it I find I'm best when I'm busy. Like I really enjoy being busy. And in the winter when there was less to do, I just found myself lazing around and it just wasn't a healthy lifestyle, I don't think. So in those quieter times, it would have been nice to have like people that I was working with to um to work alongside and kind of help motivate me. But on the flip side, when I'm feeling positive and am motivated, like currently when the weather's good, the bees are active, there's stuff to do. Um, it's the best thing ever. I have so much energy and I can plan my days, and it is kind of great. So there is that, but there is some great things and equally some not so great things. I think like everything that people do in their careers.
You see a lot of YouTubers now when they get big, and like your channel is huge. It's nearly 500,000 subscribers. They they
Nearly,
they
yeah.
won't edit their own videos anymore, will they? Wait, have you hit 500,000 yet, or it is still just below?
No, not yet.
No,
We're
you
gonna
just, oh,
get
you had
there
to check,
soon.
it's like seconds, yeah. So what a lot of them do is that they'll start subcontracting out a lot of the stuff that they don't want to do. So maybe the script writing or the thumbnail production or the video editing. I think a lot will subcontract that out. Would you like to do that? And do you think if like the channel continues to grow, that's something that you will do?
Um, I've definitely thought about it. Um, and I have a few messages from people saying like, I'm an editor, I can help you edit, which will give you more time to do things that you want to do. And they are I have thought about that and gone, okay, so I would be able to spend more time outdoors, maybe doing the things which are really exciting and fun, and then I can get help with the editing, which can be very boring. But I think editing is part of it, and the boring stuff is sometimes necessary. Like it's beneficial for like keeping sane. Like I find a day of editing isn't necessarily enjoyable, but it keeps the mind really busy. It keeps you focused on a task, and that is really important. I think if I gave my editing to someone else to do, I I would be missing something. Maybe not the boringness of editing, but the I don't know. I wouldn't want to yeah, I wouldn't want someone else to do editing. Um yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe the
I
analogy
think
is
I
like
need to
when
need to do it.
you're eating your food and maybe you're like, I don't know, you like maybe you like drinking beer. You think, "Oh, I love drinking beer," and then but you also drink tea and you drink coffee and you drink water and you think, "You know what? I'm just going to drink beer, and that's all I'm ever going to drink." And it just becomes a bit
Mm,
stale and a bit boring, doesn't it? Because you're just
exactly.
doing the same thing.
So that's a great analogy. You're like, well, I love sweets are really nice. They're way nicer than cabbage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat sweets all the time. But then you realize, no, you need a balance of things. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I think
Uh,
I want to do the editing because it's a great balance to the
yeah.
exciting stuff. It's like, yeah, they balance
Uh,
each other out.
and I think your editing style as well is something that possibly can't really be replicated. You know, like you say, it's not scripted. You don't kind of start at A and finish at Z, and you could give it to someone and they produce the same thing as you. Like the way that you cut things together is very much your own unique style, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess because I look at the videos I've made and it's great that people want to watch them. And I think, yeah, you're right. If I had someone else editing them, then that would be moving away from like what it currently is, and people are obviously enjoying the videos how they are. So I feel like I should keep making them how they are, in sort of the style that I have. So yeah, you're right.
It's an interesting business like kind of observation that I'll go on to next, which is if you're doing something well, which you clearly are, should you focus on continuing to do something well, or should you try and keep ahead of the competition by like changing things? And I think it's very relevant in the YouTube world. Like, what's your take on that?
Hmm. Um. It's such a so many things to think about there.
Yeah,
I I'd say that because I can only really talk from my situation, and as a YouTube video maker, and the videos I make are quite closely linked to like the things I do. They're quite personal videos. They're quite based on me and my life. And although yes, right now people are enjoying the videos, and I could just try and make them exactly the same and not change. As a person, you're always changing. Like me 5 years ago is very different to me now, and naturally, without even thinking, the videos are changing with that. So I think when you're making videos about your life and about things that you do, you often like the way I've done it is I've just stayed kind of true to myself and tried to film things as much of like as real as possible. And over the years, I change, and the videos naturally change with it. I don't think like I've personally not put much thought into that. And as my interests change, as I maybe get interested in pig keeping or chicken keeping, the videos will walk with that. And whatever direction it goes, it will keep evolving if I keep evolving. And I think everyone does. Everyone does keep changing.
it's a really good answer to the question, because what you're basically doing is like you're putting faith in yourself to say, well, I'm not going to remain static. I'm going to keep doing videos, and I'm going to keep doing what I want to do, and I'm going to keep doing as much as I can, putting it into the videos, the videography and stuff like that. But I'll just back myself as a person, which is nice. It's very refreshing. It's a good answer. There's a couple of cool questions in here. So Lynette says, "You have tried so many things, Alex. What was your favorite and least favorite things to do?"
Um, Gosh. Yeah, I've done mushroom growing, beer making, mead making, gardening, beekeeping. Or beekeeping, I think, has possibly been the best thing.
Very relevant.
Skiing could be my favorite thing. That's like the most fun that I've had, probably skiing.
Yeah.
I made a video. For those of you who haven't seen, I made a video about learning how to ski, which was great. Like skiing is great fun. Skiing and beekeeping on par. My least favorite things. I don't think I've done anything which is like, oh, that wasn't fun. Like I've got something from all these things. But if I would say least favorite, it would be the part of the mushroom growing where I got ill because all the mushrooms were releasing their spores in my bedroom, and then it was affecting my lungs. That was the least
Yeah,
nice thing that
I can
happened.
see why that would be your least favorite. It's weird, like there is a phobia out there that I have. I have a seriously bad case of this phobia, and the phobia is mushrooms growing. I like, do you know what? It's making me itch even thinking about it. I just can't stand it. It properly,
God,
like I'm genuinely like shaking a bit and itching just thinking about it. Uh,
God, sorry.
so yeah,
Sorry to
that
mention
was
it.
my least favorite one. Yeah. Oh, do you know when you see? Oh, I can't even talk about him. Yeah. We'll move on to the next question. Next question is from Bert again. So he says, and I think this is very good, relevant question. How far away is your apiary from your house in Bristol? But more importantly, how do you find it compares to keeping bees at home? So do you prefer it now with an out apiary?
That's interesting. So this is another thing which is like because the bees are further away from my house now, my visits to the apiary are a lot more of a special moment because I don't get to see the bees every day. It's like the less of it I have, the more exciting it is. So now I go and see my bees maybe once or twice a week. And each time I'm so excited on the drive over, I'm listening to my music, I'm getting into it. I'm driving across the river you can see the suspension bridge in Bristol across the river. You're driving into the countryside down these nice country lanes, and that I really love about having an out apiary, and also the fact that you've got to be a little bit more prepared because you can't because like you've got to load up your van with all the stuff which you're going to need, and if you've forgotten something, it's quite a way back, like back home. How far is my apiary? It's about 18 to 20 minutes, 18 to 25 minutes, depending on the traffic.
Fair
Drive.
away then. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a drive, but I absolutely love it because I can leave the city and go out to this beautiful part of the countryside where, like, on the edge of this little farm, and it's just beautiful. And that I would say is possibly the best thing about having an out apiary is the excitement of going to it and getting to visit once or twice a week. But I think in terms of like learning about your bees' behavior, when you're at home with them, you can observe them every single day. You can see every single, like, whatever the weather, if it's pouring down with rain or sunny or morning, evening, or anything, you can see how they're sort of reacting, and you can sit with them more. You can just sit outside, have like your plate of food and chill next to the bees. So there's benefits to both. I'd like to one day have bees at home and then bees at an out apiary, and you have both. But
It'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
I would say it's great having an out apiary, but I would struggle to drive more than like half an hour to do it because it is quite a way um to drive
It's funny
regularly.
when people in America hear about us Brits moaning about driving half an hour. I wouldn't drive half an hour because I said this. I gave up a really good apiary because it was 35 minutes away, and I was just like, it's just too far. You know, it's 35 minutes
Mhm.
there, 35 minutes back, and they're like, we drive 6 hours to get to our apiary, and it's like, whoa, it's just different magnitude, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a fan of bees in the garden anymore. I'm just
No.
not. No, no, but I'm lucky here because all of the apiaries are pretty close. So like the one up at the mountains is 2 minutes in the truck. But I just I get a bit nervy with bees in the garden, and because like we got nice calm bees, but they're not always nice and calm. If you get like a grumpy day, you'll get a few, and then if you've got like the neighbors like mowing the lawn or something, and they're pinging
That
him,
is
and
something which I did get
yeah,
worried about, yeah. Like neighbors when they swarm, it's a bit hectic.
and this is the thing, and when they swarm, like round here, obviously everyone's got chimneys, I guess most places, and then we've had swarms go into people's chimneys, and I just think it's probably my responsibility to get them out, and then it becomes quite expensive. And even just when they're up in the air and I'm watching my neighbours looking at them thinking, what is this guy doing? Because we had 35 colonies in the back garden once, and it was at that point 35 colonies, and a couple of them turned angry, and then they started swarming and going, and I just thought, that's it, we're done in the garden. So I don't have any anymore. And then someone was supposed to collect 6 nucs a couple of weeks ago, and they, on the day, they didn't cancel, they just rung up and said, oh, something's come up, can we postpone till Friday? And I said, yeah, it's fine, I'll leave them in the garden and let them fly. So I had 3 days of bees in the garden, and it was just, they just kept going in my hair, and not in an aggressive way, but just there were just loads of bees in the garden. So I'd say to everyone, if you can do away with it and have them in an out apiary, it's nice, especially a nice quiet one.
A little bit easier.
Yeah, the drive to the countryside is nice, and it's nice and quiet and stuff, isn't it? But it's a bugger when you forget something.
It is so annoying, and I'm so forgetful. I forget stuff every time. And with beekeeping, you like, if you're trying to keep track of, like, I don't know, for me only like 7 hives, but I have to think about each of those hives and how many supers will I need to bring for those, how many of everything, and I'm like, I will always forget something.
Yeah, you definitely do. Well, I said we would do an hour, and we've done an hour and 6 minutes, and I could continue chatting all night long, Alex. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really great chatting to you. But I think we'll call it a day there. Keep it short and sweet. I'd finally say, like, I enjoyed the streaming yesterday, the videoing yesterday so much. It was really good fun and great. It was great, like, in action. Yeah, it was really good. Everyone subscribe to Alex's page everywhere. He's got like half the UK. If you've not, though, obviously go over, subscribe to Just Alex. But more importantly than that, hit the bell so you see when the new videos coming out showing my bees. How long do you think that will be?
That video, gosh, I've got loads of other editing to do, so it might not be for like another few weeks.
Okay, a few weeks,
or maybe even a month. So I'm sorry, but it will be coming soon-ish.
No problem.
Click the bell.
Yeah, click the bell. There we go. We've got the plug-in for clicking the bell. But thank you for coming on. You didn't have to. And like, we've done the double whammy we did yesterday and today. You got any final words? Anything you want to say to anyone?
I actually don't. No, thank you to all the people who have left really nice comments, and I appreciate it, and hope you found this stream interesting. And yeah, I definitely am. I'm really excited to show everyone the video which me and Lawrence filmed yesterday, because it's got some really nice B-roll. Excuse the pun, but we got the proper lenses out, did some nice B-roll, and yeah, got some filming done with both you and Richard, full of incredible, great knowledge, which you don't normally see on my videos. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes out for that.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Alex. Thanks everyone for dialing in. I will be doing a live stream this weekend for the Q&A. So for people who just want to come and ask questions, I'll do it either Saturday or Sunday night. But for this stream, we are finished. So thanks, Alex. I'll see you all later.
See ya.